buddy. Let's get it, man. Obviously, third preseason game officially over, man. But the preseason is all the way in the books now. So we're obviously going to react to this game. And then after that, man, we can start turning the page and getting ready for that real life week 1 action, baby. But thought it was some pretty impressive stuff that took place today. Obviously not the end result that we wanted, and we'll get into all of that. But we definitely got some positive performances from some people that we really needed some more information from, man. So like I said, I'm definitely excited about that. And yeah, I already know, we are speeding it up a little bit, man. Figure Sutton change is a little bit funner, since the game is already over, man. We just kicking anywho. But like I said, man, for me, definitely with some impressive people out here, man. So trying to think, where do I want to start this thing, right? Because I do got plenty I want to talk about, man. We'll probably start like how we always do. And that is simple as this, man. We're not going to overreact, right? Can't overreact. But we did go 0-3 in the preseason. I don't know how y'all feel about that, man. I'm like not tripping on. I really don't care about the preseason record. But at the same time, it's like, if we really went 0-3 in the preseason, yo, this is kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. But let's go ahead and get into this thing like we always do. So y'all drop it in the comment section where you are tuning in from, so that way I give you those big boy shout outs to start today's show. And of course, man, don't forget to hit that like button one time for the culture and subscribe if you are new to the channel. And for all the new people out there, man, make sure you're checking out the website as well, arthurmoats.com. We got a lot of cool updates going on over there, man. Information about the channel, man. Obviously, what we got going on upcoming years, and some of you guys may getting featured in terms of your call-ins and different content as well, man. So definitely check that out. We got the homie Mike Hood in the 614. I was about to trip out. 644 Columbus in the building, man. Tap in. Let's get it. BMBG Cole in that Buffalo 716. Shout out. And shout out to the fact that we had the Bills game scheduled at the same time. The Steelers game scheduled at the same time as Florida State college football game scheduled. Man. I'm like, yo, why y'all doing me like this, man? I want to watch all them games at the same time, man. Y'all know better than that. Schedule makers did me dirty today. Rod Dawes in the 330 Youngstown, Ohio. Share a line, baby. Share a line. And shout out to the homie Mordecai. Oh, yeah. Shout out to Mordecai Henster in the 301 DMV area. All right. I see you missed the Robo 303 in Norwich, UK, baby. Shout out to Norwich, UK. Shout out to you, baby. Appreciate you rocking with me today as well. And I see you Black Hillbilly 1969 in Oak Cliff, Texas in the house, that 469 one time. And Sequoia Harris always representing this, the Bronx, the 718 New York. Shout out to you. And Steelers Martini in the 719 Pittsburgh to Colorado Springs. I like that. I could definitely dig that right there. Let's see. Paul in the 539 Hamburg, Germany. Shout out to Hamburg, Germany, man. Shoot. You should be proud of well, I don't know if he's from Hamburg. I mean, I don't know that much, but I mean, we do know that we have Julius, and he was balling today, and everybody kept talking about how, we got the German Steelers social media, and it was like showing them out, so I don't know how far that is or where they are in relation. But let me see, actually, is he from specifically Hamburg? Nope, they ain't gonna tell me on this thing. They give me just his college stats and stuff like, oh no, he's from Missbach. So yeah, I don't know how far Missbach is from Hamburg, but if it's close, man, salute, you know what I mean? But I like it. Robert Martin tapping in that 757 Williamsburg, Virginia. Shout out to Williamsburg as well, man. If you know, you know. And Chris Hobson, I'm going to end it with you. He says, Houston, Texas, where he's tapping in from, but he gives the Berg his love. Nah, salute you, baby. Salute you, all right? So, yeah, you know what time it is. And since Zach McMullen put the West all the way capped out in West Virginia and saying that he's in the house, I had to shout you out even though I was done with my shout outs for the day, man. All right. But like I said, salute each and every one of y'all that are here today, man. And those of you that are going to continue to join us along the way. As I said earlier, man, once the preseason started, after every single Steelers game, this is what we're doing, man. We hopping up here. We're going to get up here, go probably about an hour, could be a little longer, it's depending on the vibe and stuff like that, man. But we're going to get those instant reactions up out of this thing, man. All right. So for me, man, a couple of things that I thought stood out today. In terms of quarterback play, let me clear this up off my There we go. Man, but for me, a couple things that kind of stood out. In terms of quarterback play with Russ, starting with him, I thought that, even though we only got, was it 5 plays from him on that opening drive, I thought that he looked in command. He looked confident. I like the fact that he stretched the field, man. Obviously, hit that nice throw to GP, crossed the on the over route, and then GP did the rest, taking it 32 yards. That was very impressive. But ultimately, man, leading a scoring drive, something that we hadn't seen from the first unit. I mean, realistically, neither the first unit with Russ or the first unit with Fields, however we want to classify that, but neither party had been able to lead us on scoring drives. And I thought it was impressive to see Russ come on that opening drive and do just that. We got a chance to also see one of our new additions, Cordarrelle Patterson. Obviously, we know he's very familiar with Arthur Smith, so to get a chance to see him have an impact in this game, man, showing his versatility, not just as, a guy that can catch out the backfield, but he can also run between the tackles, making a safety miss and, getting that touchdown run. I thought that was really impressive. Now, we obviously know that it was against the hybrid unit of not their starters, but some of their good players and some of the stuff, guys that they are going to have at least some semblance of a rollover there. We're not going to overhype it either, but when it is that type of scenario, I want it to look like what it looked like with that open unit. Make it look like they don't have their best players on that field, and I thought that's what it did look like, man. The way that the Steelers were able to literally march up that field, get that touchdown, boom. Then after that, man, we go to Justin Fields, because obviously those two quarterbacks were the ones that have been talked about the most and had the most riding on this game, obviously, when we're talking about Justin Fields. And I thought that he played well. Came out and led a scoring drive in his own right. Nice throw to Michael Pruitt as well, man. It was good to see that. And Justin still showing off the legs as well. I don't know what it is when he's back there and how just magically we have these the snap situation. I don't know. I think that one was on Frasier, though. I'm just throwing it out there, all right? Shout out to the young boy. We're going to talk about him in a second. I think that was on the young boy, though, all right? But for me, man, I thought both of the quarterbacks, in terms of Russ and Fields, I thought that they did a good job when they were out there today. Obviously, Fields played a little bit longer. I want to say he got 4 series. Might have had that 5th one. I'm not all the way sure. I feel like it was just 4, though, because he subbed out when Kyle Allen came in. It was like still, I want to say 8-9 minutes left in that second. Or it was probably 6 minutes left in that second quarter. But that was the one thing that I would say, man, with Fields. I thought that he responded well. We know last week, man, one of my personal criticisms were I felt that he reverted back to that Chicago Bears style of, if my first read isn't there, I'm just going to tuck it and run. And I wasn't really the biggest fan of that style. I don't think it's going to age gracefully. But I thought what he did today was more of what we've been seeing from him in training camp, where it's been more of the, I can utilize my arm, but if you don't respect this part of my game, I can also utilize my legs. And like I said, that's the part that makes Justin Fields so dangerous and so unique. So I was definitely happy to see that from him. Also, can we shout out to the fact that, with both of those guys, whether it was Russ or Fields, we did get a chance to actually get touchdowns. Obviously, it was LaMichael Pirine that finished the touchdown run on the Justin Fields drive. But, man, to start out with both of those guys leading their respective units right down the field to get points, man, I thought that was really impressive. And then from there, man, I got to talk about the young guy on defense. All right, I'm going to get to some of these other guys on offense, but if I'm just talking about guys that jumped off the screen to me, guys that as I'm watching the game and I'm just saying, wow, what is this? Nick Herbig. Let's be real. The dude has balled out every time I put eyes on him this offseason. Training camp, he's balled out. In each of these 3 preseason games, he's made a splash play. You watch him today, he's winning with effort. He's winning with skill. He's hunting the football. He's causing splash plays. And that's what you want to see from a young guy that you think is ready to take that next step. When we're looking at our current roster depth at the outside linebacker position, we have to feel a lot better knowing that Nick Herbig is the guy right now. He's healthy. He's young. He can play right and left. But for me, it's just the way that he is attacking these quarterbacks, the way that he is relentless in his rush. And even when it's not a perfect rush where he wins right away, he still is finding ways to impact the play and make this quarterback or the various quarterbacks that he's faced feel extremely uncomfortable. That's what we're going to need when he rotates in for TJ and for Highsmith this season, because we know Marcus Golden retired, man. Salute to him. Heck of a career. But that does create a little bit of a void in the sense of the rotation. So for us, as we continue to look at Herbig, we want to see him have more performances like what he did today. And I just felt like the way that he's consistently done this throughout the preseason, I think that we can have a lot of confidence in him, man, going forward this year. Yeah, Michael Gino, what's up? He says Nick is a baby monster, baby. We're not surprised. Absolutely. Do not be surprised, man. Like I said, very, very impressed with what I saw from Nick Herbig out there today and throughout this whole preseason, and not just versus the run. Like I said, you look at the film session that I did on him last week, right? Talking about just how he's really been taking another step forward in his game. And you look on that tape, what is it? Man, he's getting after it as a pass rusher. You're also seeing him in coverage making plays. You're also seeing him running down the field on special teams making tackles. Just across the board, it's looking like this guy is ready to evolve and be a major contributor to our team this year. So, like I said, he's definitely one of those guys that has stood out to me, and I had to make sure we talked about him today. Some other guys, though. What about this D-line, man? Huh? Between DeMarvin Leal, between Montravis Adams, right? Them dudes cooked all preseason and were super disruptive again today, man. I was definitely enjoying what I saw from them. Loudermilk had some moments as well. I just wish he had a little bit more detail in his finish. And what I mean for Loudermilk specifically is you see the play where I want to say Julius had his first sack, and it's Loudermilk beating his guard, which looked great, hands up, but instead of keeping hands up and feet on the ground, he puts hands up and he jumps, allows quarterback to pump, run around him, and instead of him getting the sack, Julius gets the sack. So instead of it looking like a nicer play on the stat sheet for Loudermilk, it goes down as just, man, good job, but he's going to get the full stat. And then it was another play where he's winning as he's winning on top of the rusher, and he's trying to come down to it and ultimately just misses the guy. And I want to say that was where Herbig got his either first or second sack. I can't remember the sequence with him specifically, but looking at those two situations, it's like, man, Loudermilk, just you're right there in terms of giving us the same things that we want and the same excitement that we have for DeMarvin Leal. The difference is, though, Leal is having that detail at the end of these plays and getting the finish, so statistically it looks a lot better. Whereas with Loudermilk, I just felt like, man, you are right there. You're right there. But go ahead and put that stamp on your work, man. Go ahead and finish it out, man. But Montravis Adams, man, I was really impressed with him today. I thought that he was very disruptive in the interior part of that defensive line, man. So shout out to those dudes. And definitely shout out to Julius, man. Like I said, the German, all right? My man was over there balling. Yes, Mr. Welshoff. Like I said, man, first off, you see him with the cleanup crew style sack where you're just, using good rush fundamentals. Man, if everybody is going this way and you feel like, hey, there's nobody over here, why don't I just fill in this lane? And sometimes the ball might just come right to me. Quarterback steps up, get you a sack, man. Don't miss the layup. But then you see him to come back and actually win with an interior twist move where it's like, all right, you guys are going up. I got the the step and going around, and to see him executing the technique of that and finishing the play, very impressed with him, man. I thought that he put together a very productive preseason as well. Shout out to Julius, man. And then what about Corey Trice? Was I the only one that was peeping Corey Trice today? If I was the only one, that's cool. But if I wasn't the only one that was watching Corey Trice and we was all over here like, yo, man, Corey, you look good out here tonight. If it wasn't just me, then y'all hit that like button, all right? Because I was excited watching Corey Trice play today, man. It was good to see him out there. He played a good amount of time in that first half. Shout out to the fact that JPJ did not play, so that allowed Corey to get that opportunity to really showcase some of the stuff that he could do. I thought that his tackling was exceptional. I think that continues to be one of the things that stands out, and it should when you think about the size that he plays with, right? But then the other thing that the other thing that stood out to me was it was a play that he made versus a screen pass, and the reason why it stood out was the technique. He's in man-to-man coverage. His eyes are on his receiver. So even when the guy is trying to block him, because his work is stepping back and trying to go inside, he simply just follows him because he's like, yo, this is my receiver. And if you do that, it's going to take you right to where they're trying to throw the football. You get there a little bit faster, you might get a hand on a PBU, but worst case is bang, bang. And as soon as that guy catches it for the screen, he's making the tackle. I loved that because it's showing me that he has understanding. Alright, yo, there we go. There we go. Alrighty. Now y'all can hear me. Now we back, bro. I don't know why that thing tripped out on me like that, bro. But it is all good. I see y'all back in the section with me. If y'all rock with me and y'all can hear that audio, let me hear you hit that like button one time and then subscribe if you are new to the channel, baby. Because all your boy was talking about right there was Corey Trice continuing to make these type of plays, man. Corey Trice continuing to do not just make plays in the run game, but also make plays in pass coverage. I felt like today we got a chance to see both of those things. I was talking about, I'm not sure if it went out when I was saying this or not, so I'm going to just reiterate the fact that one of my favorite plays from Corey today was him playing against the screen pass. He's in man-to-man coverage. Obviously, we see the pass coming through, but for him, he's focused in on his guy. He's locked in right here, and when his man is going inside, he doesn't worry about anything else. He's just simply following his technique. His technique is man-to-man, so the best way to play man-to-man is to do what? Look at your man. So literally, he travels inside with him, beats the blocker, and now as the pass is coming, if you're a little bit faster, you might get the PBU, but worst case, you're making a nice tackle right there. And that's the part for me that I was enjoying with Corey, because he's showing that he's not only making plays in the practice setting, he's also making plays inside the stadium. And that was one of the critiques or criticism that Coach Tomlin had for the team as a whole. He's talking about how we've had really good plays, really good production, but it's been in practice. Hasn't been necessarily in the stadium. And for a lot of those guys to be able to take it to the stadium today, I was really impressed with that, man. So like I said, Corey was one of those guys that really stood out to me, though. So there we go. Shout out to Corey, and shout out to the fact that the mic came back and worked for your boy on the back end of this thing. All right. Sometimes you got to get it back, man. But shout out to the chat, man. All right. Shout out to the chat. Oh man, we got supers coming in here too. I'm gonna get to these supers. I promise you I am. I just want to get this thing out the front end first, and then you know how we're gonna parlay and politic on the back end. All right. But couple other guys, man, that I was impressed with today. I was also liking what I saw from Zach Frasier. Obviously, another start for him, right? Another opportunity to play against a little bit higher in competition. Now, we said this wasn't the Detroit Lions starting unit, so we understand there is context with it. But what I did like from Zach was with that first group especially, I thought that his run blocking was really good. You look at that touchdown run from Cordarrelle Patterson, man, Frasier's a part of that, man. Frasier's got a nice block. He's sustaining it to the front side, and that's allowing Cordarrelle to hit it on that front side A gap, and then that gets him up on the safety one-on-one. Whoop, makes the guy miss. Beautiful touchdown. That's what we want to see from Frasier. I like that part, man. Obviously, when we talked about him in pass protection, I thought especially with Russ and with Fields, they had time. I thought that he was doing a good job with that. Now, the snap, I don't like the miscommunication. We got to get that locked in. We got to get that better, especially when you're talking about going on the road to Atlanta. All right, it's not a road game, but we will be on the road, okay? It's going to be predominantly Steelers fans in there. But if it is very loud because our Steelers fans are in there, we got to make sure that we're on the same page in the sense of when we're operating on a silent count. So that's the only thing that I was really just like, I want to see a little bit better just detail with that. I don't know what the communication was or the lack thereof, but it looked as if he was the one who was off with everybody else, man. So, like I said, I definitely want to get that squared away. But other than that, man, I felt good about what I saw from him. I also like what I saw from Broderick. Let's talk about it, right? If we were going to criticize him as loud as we did last week, and rightfully so, because he did put some bad tape out there last week, let's make sure we come back and acknowledge him when he, puts a little bit better tape out here this week. Now, I still wasn't perfect, but I did like what I saw. I thought that, in terms of his run blocking was a lot better. Pass blocking, he played a lot better there, man. We did not see what we saw last week, where it was just, not the most pretty. I still would like to see a little bit more urgency in his game. But once again, man, that might just be one of those guys that just says, man, preseason isn't his thing, man. I don't like that mindset, but that might be it. So we will see, man. Hopefully that urgency picks back up come week 1, man, at a higher level, more so in the finish. It's not that, I felt like technique-wise it wasn't good today, because I thought that his technique did look good today in terms of Broderick. I just, like I said, I still don't like how some of the plays I see at the end, I'm like, yo, give me a little bit more. Like, don't let him look like that at the end. It just looks bad to me optically, man. Don't even give him that. So that's the part why, like I said, I think that will hopefully show less now that the regular season is here and these games matter, because that was the case for him last year. So definitely need that to be the case again this year. Let me see. Was there another? Oh, we had a Cam Sutton interception today as well, man. Could anybody tell that he was a little ticked off about Detroit at the end of that play? My man put it the ball. I said, bro, are you really about to kick the ball, man? You know you get fined for that now. You do not need to get fined in the preseason, man. But it was good to see him, obviously making the play off of the tip pass, man. And we say we need all those things, tips and overthrows. If that ball is in the air, it is ours, especially on defense like that, man. So it was good to see Cam make a play. We obviously know he's going to be on the shelf until at least week 8, week 9 time frame. So obviously, we'll see what that is when he comes back. But at least we have a nice fond memory of him for the last time. He was on the field for a long stretch in between, man. But yeah, my man was hype. Jay Jones. Yeah, Spice Creations. Y'all seen it. My dog, I say, yo, my dog lost it. Me and wifey sit watching the game. I'm like, bae, Cam hot. I was like, that was personal, man. I said, yo, when you run off to the field, you punch your joint, you punt the ball. I said, oh, yeah. That meant something. He's like, yo, I was surprised he didn't walk over there and say, that's for you. That's for you. You're cool. You. Like, I get it, man. I get it. But we're definitely going to need him, Mike Hood. I'm with you, man. We're definitely going to need Cam Sutton, man, once it's, week 8, week 9 time frame, man. And hopefully he's ready to hop on that moving train, man, because he's a very productive player, very smart player as well. And his versatility to be able to play safety, slot corner, outside corner, that's a very valuable asset. And that's a big reason why he's been as productive and as successful throughout his NFL career, man. So I'm glad that he's back here now. And, like I said, hopefully, man, he'll be the same productive player when he does get a chance to return later on this season. All righty. Let me see. Was there anyone else I was going to shout out before we got going with the chat? Well, shoot, I got some other names down here. We're going to do that because I did mention DeMarvin Leal, but I did want to talk a little bit more about why I was liking what I saw from DeMarvin, if that's all right with y'all, man. Because let's be real, man. The dude is winning. He's creating pressure. He's getting home and getting sacks. And I still enjoy the fact that I'm seeing him be productive on the right side of the defense, but then he could turn around and be on the left side of the defense, and the production does not waver one way or the other. You watch his hand movement, you watch his usage, you watch his pad level and technique. This is the dude right now, man. I feel like that the same way we're excited about Herbig taking that next step forward, DeMarvin Leal, that's the guy right now, man. I cannot wait for the regular season to be here and we get a chance to really see all his hard work be, on display versus the best of the best in the world. Because obviously in the preseason, it's always going to be met with some form of, well, it was dope, but it was preseason. Man, he was productive, but it was preseason. Oh, man, when everybody's out there, we'll see, because it's preseason. So now I'm just glad that we get a chance to check this next, excuse off the list and, really respect him as a player, because this is what he's capable of. And this is a big reason why I was excited for us to draft him when we did, and why you've heard me compare him to Tua at times, because the last dude I seen move like that, be as athletic like that, and could play up and down that D-line like that was Tua. So for me, man, I want to see DeMarvin have that type of production, man, or even more so, because I do think he's capable of that. So shout out to DeMarvin Leal, man. Ooh, and G_Honda done brought up Beanie Bishop. Yeah. It was good to see Beanie make his return back out there on that field today. Thought that he was also a productive guy out there. It was interesting to see the way that Detroit would handle him at times, though. Whereas I felt like in that first game, he wasn't always met with bigger body slot receivers. Today, he kind of got matched with some bigger guys, more so in the run game. And it was interesting to see, just some of the techniques that he uses to get off of some of those blocks. I like it, though, man. But it's like you're going to have those type of plans, because in the regular season, you're going to face size. And that's one of the things of why Benny is, more of an interior slot corner versus on that outside. But I love his physicality. I love the way that he has a nose for the football. And I think that we're going to have to lean on him, especially early on, unless something funky happens, come Tuesday when they start doing roster cuts. I think he has a strong chance to be the starting slot corner for us right now, man. But we shall see. We shall see. But let me turn this thing over, man, because obviously we know you got some chats coming. I see some supers and stuff in here already, man. So we're obviously gonna react to that, man. But y'all hit that like button real quick on the front end. Don't forget to subscribe, all right, especially if you're new to the channel and you are enjoying the content. Take a little sip of this here Gatorade. All right, shout out to the homie Nanzito, always pulling up, showing love. He says, trash game, trash preseason. Starters should have played way longer. Honestly, no effing clue what kind of team we are getting week 1. Well, that's okay, Nanzito. For some people, they act as if they're super experts and they can see everything that is good or not good within, you know, a couple of games or a couple of drives. Looks like you take the other approach and say you don't understand any of it and it's just out here, man. You're going to be surprised and shocked one way or the other. I like that. Now, in terms of trash game, trash preseason, I personally don't agree with that perspective, but that's your perspective, man. So ain't nothing wrong with that, man. I don't know what your expectations were for the game. The reason why I don't view it as a trash game is because I did get a chance to see both units with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson look productive, score a touchdown, something that we have not seen at all this preseason. So if that is something that I had not seen and that was something that I was eager to see, I'm already in the good. So then when I transition to the defensive side of the ball and I say I want to see a Nick Herbig, who I talked about, or me and Deke talked about, you know, going into this game, saying we want to see that production because it's more so about who are the pieces that we think are going to actually help us come regular season, not necessarily winning this game, because if that was the case, go throw TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, Alex Highsmith and company out there, right? But that's not the intent for these games, more so the evaluation. So with that, you got a chance to see the evaluation. I got a chance to see Nick Herbig play extremely well. We got a chance to see Cordarrelle Patterson display that, hey, he actually does have a little bit more left in the tank potentially, man. The speed, you definitely saw the high knees out there. I don't know if I was the only one. I said, my boy, look, said, all right, I see you. But that's what the purpose of the preseason, that's what the purpose of these games are for. So if you weren't able to evaluate that, I can definitely understand that, man. But like I said, that's why I personally don't call it a trash game or a trash preseason. In fact, I thought it was a good game. I thought it was a really good preseason also, man, because we got information. Yeah, but like I said, it just depends on what your expectations or what your intent was while watching the preseason. And I'm sure that that will probably correlate why it was trash to you or not, man. But shout out to you, though, Nancy. You know it's all love, man. Shout out to the homie Jacob Ramirez. Also, the other Jacob. He says, Keanu Benton, George Pickens, Nick Herbig. Great games. And I agree 1,000%. Hence the reason why I can't say it was a trash game, because I got a chance to see all three of those dudes ball out. If I wanted to win this game, I would just keep those three in there the whole time, right? But we're not trying to win this game. We're trying to evaluate. And I saw what I needed to see from those three guys because we are leaning heavily on those guys come regular season. Keanu Benton has to be a guy, and I think he's going to continue to be a guy. George Pickens has to be the guy, right? We don't have any hope coming in here unless something changes whenever. I don't know. He's got to be the guy. So I want to see what we saw today, man. It looked good. And then with Herbig, man, Herbig, you're going to get your reps. You're the third rusher. Be productive, ball out, let's go, man. But he says that Wilson, in terms of Russell Wilson, was solid, but the ceiling with Fields, exciting. Then after that, he says the O-line played well. Hope that Vance, in terms of Vance Jefferson, Corey Trice, and Ryan Watts are okay. Yeah, man, I agree. Obviously, we talked Benton, Pickens, Herbig in the front part of your comment. In terms of Russell Wilson being solid, yeah. Fields, the ceiling is always exciting. That's part of why Justin Fields is Justin Fields. It's not a lack of ability with Justin Fields. That has never been the case. And if, you know, people get confused when we criticize him for thinking that it's ability, it's definitely not that. No, it's the consistency part. And that's, you know, part of why he's in the situation that he's in right now. But yeah, he always has the electric, elite, high level ceiling. That's a big reason why he is, you know, talked about how he's talked about, man. But you definitely want to keep that floor high. And that does matter just as much as the ceiling as well, man. And like I said, man, it's a good problem to have, man, when you're talking about both of these quarterbacks, the uniqueness that they both provide for the position, man. But I know for me at least, I always side with the guys that I've seen proven and do it over and over and over and over, because we always look at this level and say the dirty word is P, potential. right? Potential gets guys fired every single year because you will wait and say, this guy has the potential to be great. This guy has the potential to be the best player ever. This guy has the potential to be da 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 da. And you'll be up here 10 years later, like, yeah, he still got that potential, but it never actually materialized, right? It never turned into what it was supposed to be. So just be cautious when we are constantly talking potential versus actual production or the consistency with it, man. But that's why with Justin Fields, we're in that phase with him where it's like, yo, we want to see you more putting that stuff together like how you look today, and that's going to be critical for him going forward. But that's one of the ones where when we look at Russ, just because it's not always as exciting, let's not lose sight of the production that has constantly been a part of his game since coming into the NFL. And I think that's a big reason why Coach Tomlin feels so comfortable putting him out there in these situations right now, or at least going into week 1. I think he is looking at all of the body of work as well as was recently going on. And that's, kind of where he's at with it. But for Justin Fields, man, I thought that in terms of how he finished the preseason, this is what you wanted to see. You wanted to see a way better version than last week. And I thought that we got that. I thought that this is very reflective of how he looked in training camp. And this is a big reason why we're excited that he's here, part of this organization right now, man. Manny_fresh. Shout out to you, man. Looks like you're paying it forward, gifting an upper room membership to, let me see. Or has the chat been too crazy? Yeah, chat done been too crazy. So I actually missed who you gifted to. But Manny_fresh, shout out to you, man, being a rock star at life, paying it forward and supporting the channel. You know I appreciate you from the heart. And to whoever that individual was that received it, welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let's get it. Jacob Ramirez, the other Jacob, also says, shout out for keeping eyes on the chat. Nah, man, shout out to the chat for staying active, man, and letting me know when the audio wants to play me, man, all right? Sometimes the audio works and it's smooth and it's a vibe. Other times it wants to say, hey, get on your toes real quick, man. Let me make sure you're working. You all right? You good? But shout out to y'all, man. That's teamwork, all right? Teamwork. So salute you, baby. Salute you. In fact, y'all hit the like button for yourselves, all right? Because that way, everybody know that y'all rocking with a dope thing, so they don't think y'all are crazy. Like, oh, nah, man, they rocking with it because they rock with them. So salute y'all, all right? King Whooper also said that Cordarrelle Patterson still got that gas in the tank, and that's a fact on that, man. It looked good watching him run today. Not just, when you talk about him on the outside, hitting the perimeter, stuff like that, but hitting it downhill and getting a chance to show the speed and also show some of his make you miss ability. Open field, one-on-one, that's not an easy tackle to make. But at the same time, from an offense perspective, that's not an easy, task to make these guys miss. It's the reason why these defenders are compensated how they are as well. Because, yeah, we do pride ourselves on being able to make every single tackle. It doesn't matter if it's open field. It doesn't matter if you have help or not. So that's the mindset from a defender standpoint. For Cordarrelle, it's the opposite. It's, bro, there is nobody in this league that could tackle me one-on-one in space. And I thought today, man, I liked how he was running, and it was nice to see him put that on tape for us in the black and gold, man. And it looks like he was excited to be here too, man. So shout out to him for that. I know Arthur Smith was probably feeling good about that too, man. He's like, yo, that's my guy. I brought him over. I brought Michael Pruitt over. And both of these dudes out here balling. Scotty Miller's my guy. He's balling too. Shout out to Arthur Smith, man. Hey, I see you guys, man. You guys were productive today. All right, you guys were productive. Justin Watson, he says, has anyone seen 11 not let it pass into his body? Man, in terms of Van Jefferson, guess what? I don't even care that the pass were going to his body. You know why? Because he caught them. As long as you catch him, man, who cares, right? Are we looking for style points? Or are we looking for production? Now, if we want to talk about the fundamentals of it, sure, that's another conversation. But to me, I'm not tripping on him making catches. Like, I get that that's the narrative. I think Rams fans, when they were upset with him, they wanted to talk about, oh, man, he doesn't catch anything off of his body, da-da-da-da. Cool. He's not my number one receiver. So catch what you catch, man. Be as productive as you can, man. But, yeah, I'm not tripping on that. Like I said, Van, at this stage of his career, knows how to catch the football. Van, at this stage of his career, knows how to be productive. And if my big gripe with him is he's making catches, but he's catching with his body, like, I don't know, man. To me, that just seems like I'm like looking for an issue with Van. I don't have an issue with Van like that where I need to look at it and be like, yo, stop catching with your body, man. I mean, shoot, Deontay Johnson tries to catch everything with his hands. He drops passes too. So that's the part. It's like, man, people going to complain one way or the other. If you dropping them, trying to catch with your hands, they can have an issue. If you catch it with your body, people going to have an issue. Man, just be productive. It doesn't always have to be perfect. It doesn't always have to look the best, but be productive. And I thought today Van was that. Van was getting separation. Van was catching passes, and he was making some combat plays as well, man. That's the thing, man. But we know who Van Jefferson is. Van is not the guy that's going to be the 1,500-yard, 12-touchdown receiver this year. And because I don't expect the craziest of heights from him, I'm not necessarily like gonna overcoach that type of thing or like be overreacted to that type of stuff. As long as you're being productive in your role, I'm fine with that, man. Because that'd be like us complaining every week about George Pickens. We're like, yo, we want more detail with your route running, man. Even though you caught that pass today, man, you could have planted your foot this way, gave him a little head fake that way, and then went back. It's like, nah, bro, you caught the football and got a big explosive play today, man. We'll coach up the little stuff later, but it's like, yo, you were productive. So for me, man, that's kind of how I look at Van, man. I was like, yo, Van was productive today. Now, I hope his back is all right because he definitely took a little shot. I was like, yeah, you know, I don't like that part, but so hopefully he bounces back, man. I did not catch what they said happened to Corey, though, man. I'm mad I missed that. And with Ryan, obviously, we saw him at the end of the game, man. Yeah, that was kind of scary, man. But it was good to see him walk off the field, man, and, you know, make it back to the locker room, man. So hopefully everything is okay with him. Oh, they said groin. Okay, that's what it was with Corey. Groin. All right. Shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to y'all. Yeah, man. Asur Imka. Yeah, he do need a backiotomy, man. My neck, and my back. I was like, Lord. Yeah, that Van, man, as soon as that, but I seen, I was like, oh, man, I know that hurt. Yeah. See, it's those type of plays, right? When I be thinking about why I don't have any desire to go back out there, when I see those type of just hits in the back, I'm just like, God, could you imagine getting hit with? It's like if somebody had a baseball bat and they just said, stand up, face that way, and what? That's what that probably felt like right there, man. That is not a good feeling at all, bro. At all. I don't want no parts of that, man. Let's get it, man. Let's get it. Now the truth hurts you. He says we ran the ball too much. I mean, in a normal game, yes. In a third preseason game, I don't think that's the case, especially when we were getting down to the point where we went from Cow Island to JR. Shout out to John Ross Plumley, right? But when we got to that stage of the game, it's like, man, we're not trying to necessarily run like the full gamut. It's like, yo, we're going to do certain things that value. We're going to do certain things to still be competitive. But we're also being cognizant and mindful of, yeah, let's get out of the stadium healthy, which is the other key part of this thing, man. So I can see what you're saying, but I also just think that league-wide, it's like the unsaid thing that you do late in that last preseason game, whether it's the third one, like how it is now, or even back when I was playing, when that was traditionally the fourth preseason game, you would see a lot more just heavy run plays late third to fourth quarter, man. So, like I said, I thought that J.R. Plumlee, though, did handle it in his best, you know, the best way that he could late in the game. And he did have some production as well. I wish that would have been a completion. If I remember, I think it was to Dez. He had a nice throw to Dez Fitzpatrick, man. I wish it would have been a completion. I think it would have been a little interesting, man. But yeah, that's the big thing, man, in terms of them running the ball like that at that stage of the game, man. It's just like, yo, let's go ahead and get healthy. It's time to get ready for week 1, man. Everybody get out of the stadium alive. All right, and System Data Group. Shout out to you, System Data Group, and appreciate the super chat from the heart, baby. He says, Spencer Anderson is putting together some good tape to make the 53. His versatility is key, and I would agree with you on that. Spencer Anderson, I think, plays really well. It was unfortunate, man, that he got beat today for a sack. I was a little bit upset because I'm like, bro, you've actually been another one of those quiet, consistent players. And the past, year, 2 years now, he's been one of the guys that the coaching staff has been very fond of because of his versatility, because of his work ethic and his attention to detail. That's a big reason why he's been able to stick around as long as he has. But yeah, I just wasn't a fan of Him getting beat at the line of scrimmage, went on the inside rush move, that sucked. But that's, just a part of it right now. The other guys, though, I thought that he played the best of the tackle group, though, man, because we know what the other side was. It wasn't the most pretty situation over there. All right. So, yeah. But at that stage also, man, I think that also was a part of why we started to run a little bit more, because we were allowing a little bit more pressure, whether it was the running backs trying to pick up these blitzers or these offensive tackles, man, trying to stand up on the edge, man. We kind of got it a little bit later on. So I think that also was part of why we were doing more of the running stuff, man. Let's get it. Justin Watson. He says his reputation is those turn into drops in the season. Hey, no, shout out, man. Hey, you know better than me, baby. Maybe that's why Van has never had success in the NFL, since, he can't catch. He catches with his body. Period. That's how you look at it. So I got you, man. You're saying that, those are going to always be drops because he catches with his body. If that's how you feel, I get it. I just don't agree with you. Will he have drops? Sure. Every receiver has drops. Could he be better funded or technically? Sure. If that's what you want, sure. But am I supposed to act as if Van Jefferson is not going to be a good player all of a sudden now because he's been catching with his body throughout his whole career? That's my only, disconnect with you. I get that you might feel strongly about my man Van Jefferson, and if you do, cool. I just don't feel like that about it because my expectations aren't maybe what yours are for Van. So I think, like I said, that's why I look at it a little bit different, man. But if you're productive, you're productive. And let me just, I'll just click on something real quick. Let me just hypothetical. I'm not a hypothetical guy, so no hypotheticals. I'm just gonna, get some details real quick. I just want to check something. All right. So, yeah, he's never been a crazy great receiver where he's, 100 receptions or anything like that since his career. Never has been a 1,000-yard receiver in his career. But if we already know this, what are we tripping on? Like, is our expectation that he's supposed to turn into that, and just by catching him here versus here is going to do that? I don't think that that's about to be the case, baby. You might think that. If you do, I get why you're so, invested in my man Van and his catching style. But it's Van Jefferson, baby, we talking about. Yeah. Coach me up on Quez Watkins and Calvin Austin while we at it as well, if we're going to be like this on Van Jefferson, because I think all three of those guys are in the same boat. So if we're going to feel like this about Van, let's talk about Calvin. Let's talk about Quez as well, man. Because they all three the same to me. But if we're not going to talk about them like that because our expectations aren't like that for them either, well, man, let's not be all this, super passionate about Van Jefferson, baby. Asur M. Ka, he says, my first chat here. Shout out to your first chat as well, man. Appreciate you from the heart. He says, Scotty Miller or Calvin Austin, who are we starting? Man, I'm rolling with Scotty Miller if you're just asking me right now, knee jerk, without really investing a lot of the politics and everything into it. Say Scotty Miller. And why is that? Because every time I've seen him at training camp, he's been the more productive player. When you watch Scotty Miller in stadium, he's been very consistent, along with generating a ton of separation very consistently as well. And he's a fast player. He's not Calvin Austin fast, but he's 4.3 fast. And when you're 4.3 fast with detail associated with running routes, that's why Tom Brady was very fond of him down in Tampa Bay a couple of years ago when they won the Super Bowl. It's a big reason why I think his game has translated really well here and why he's been able to, each time we've seen him in a preseason stadium, along with these practices, he's looked good. He's also a guy that's proven in the sense that he's been in this league longer than Calvin, and he's had more production than Calvin. So for me, that's why I would say Scotty Miller right now. But at the same time, Calvin has a chance to surpass that once the season hits. If you start throwing them deep bombs and Calvin does what he did versus, was that the Raiders last year? Yeah, that type of scenario, absolutely. He'll get out there and we won't have any issues with it all. But if that's not the case where we're getting those big time explosive plays from Calvin and he still necessarily hasn't developed that level of detail in his route running to create separation as a slot receiver on a play-in and play-out basis, I think Scotty Miller is further along in his development. So for me, I lean Scotty because he's going to consistently catch the ball, but he's going to generate separation. And he's a fast player as well, who's not afraid of the moment, who's already won a Super Bowl. So you know he's already seen what it takes to be great at this level. And I think that that's a huge asset to, where we are right now as a team. So like I said, that's why I would go Scotty. Hey, yeah, and Oskino 86, yes, Scotty is quick, man. Absolutely, absolutely. Let me see what the rest of y'all saying about the Scotty Miller and Calvin Austin vibe, man. Let me see real quick. Chris Hobson says he likes Scotty, bro. Okay. Spice Creation says Calvin does not play scary. Scotty just has more experience. And that's fair. I think for Calvin, he's still kind of processing information. And that is part of, when you're young and you're developing, that's a part of that. His defining characteristic is speed, but at the same time, he is a smaller receiver. I just think for him, he's still getting more of that play in and play out minutia, the little details of how to win every single time with the release versus longer arm corners versus shorter arm corners. How do I consistently win versus this type of coverage versus that type of coverage? For him, as a young player, he has to figure that out. And remember, he missed his first full year of development being on IR with the foot injury, man. So that's the part where you got to show him a little bit of grace, but I also feel like that's why I can look at a Scotty Miller and say, man, Scotty is just further along in his development. Scotty's a more refined NFL player right now, and that's why Scotty has had more career success and why I think right now he's ahead of Calvin right now. But for Calvin, he also has the return man specialist vibe going. So I think that that's another thing that, he can put in his cap in the sense of, man, the value that he provides. But if we're just simply talking those two guys, that's, like I said, why I lean towards Scotty. Now, X Concept says he likes Calvin Austin's potential, and I agree with you. Calvin's potential is through the roof when we're comparing him to Scotty Miller. But when we also talked about production, Scotty Miller's production in comparison to Calvin Austin, when we're talking, just bodies of work, stuff like that, that's where Scotty has really shown that he, is on a little bit of a different tier than Calvin right now. But Calvin for certain has potential with it, man. Mano said, man, his opinion, he want Calvin. He like Calvin out there. All right, respect. Now, shout out to that, man. Who brought that up again, man? That was Asur M. Khan. Man, shout out to you, Asur. Yeah, I like that right there, baby. All right, K Goated. Shout out to K Goated also for his first super chat. He says, best edge trio this season. TJ Watt gets 20 plus sacks. Seen that before. Alex Highsmith gets 14 plus sacks. Seen that before. And then Nick Herbig gets 6.5 sacks. And why can't he? And then after that, he says, also, in the words of Coach Tomlin, Pickens visiting from another planet. Fire emoji. No, you absolutely right on that, man. We need Pickens to be visiting from another planet each and every game. The same way TJ visits from another planet. Every once in a while, he'll come back from, I'm the best pass rusher in the Galaxyville. And he'll come over here and, kick with us regular Earthlings, all right? GP, he need to be doing the same thing, all right? Spend a little more time with us here, but then you can go back to the other planet, man, all right? Because we know you just crazy with it. Yeah. But we do have a chance to have the best edge rush trio in the league. Health is obviously going to be a big part of that. TJ Watt, he's the straw that stirs the drink. We get it. He's capable of going for 20 plus, and I anticipate him doing it again because why not? When you're talking Highsmith, can he get back to 14.5? Man, even if you don't, get back to double digits. And I think he will do that this year. I can see him easily popping right back in that 11.5 range. And I think that would be more realistic to correlate with Herbig stepping up to getting those 6.5, maybe even 8, just depending on the rotation. I just think that that's a ton of sacks if we just talking you getting 20 over here, you getting 14 over here, and then off the bench get 6.5. Oh, that's just like crazy to me, man. Like, it can happen, but that's just crazy, man. But I would love it, though. All right. And then Justin Watson. Shout out to Justin Watson, man. And shout out to you as well, man, for being here, man. I like your energy, man. Hey, we could be, going back and forth. This is the fun part of it. But I like the fact that, man, you are involved with this thing, man, because it shows me that you care about the squad, man. And that's what it's all about, because we all are rocking with that black and gold for a reason, man. So salute to Justin Watson rocking out with us today. And he says, I just don't want to see number 14 get bracketed every play. He's talking about George Pickens. It's not personal versus Van Jefferson, just baffled they only added vet minimum guys. Scotty is a diamond in the rough. And Justin, you're 1,000% right on all that. Scotty definitely is a diamond in the rough. I'm a big fan of what he's done. I'm more of a fan now seeing him working here than when he was having the success that he was having in Tampa Bay. But when we talk about GP, dealing with potential brackets, until we get a bona fide number 2 wide receiver, GP is going to get bracket coverage. Don't get that twisted. I don't care if Van is catching everything we throw at him. I don't care if Calvin is catching everything we throw at him. Those guys aren't scary enough from a defensive coordinator's perspective to warrant putting more coverage there and allowing GP to have a little bit more isolation. If I'm sitting here watching our offense, man, I'm saying GP is the guy that we have to take out. And then from there, stop this run. The only other person I think can hurt us is Move, but he'll have to prove that week in and week out. That's just how I look at it, just, really quickly without going too in depth with it. But that's a big reason why we've been, invested in the Aiyuk situation. It's the reason why Omar Khan and the Pittsburgh Steelers have not rescinded any offer yet to Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon Aiyuk hasn't decided Niners versus us, but you haven't got that report the same way I haven't got the report that says the Steelers are out on Brandon Aiyuk. The Steelers are done. They're tired of the yo-yo game. They're tired of waiting. No, we're still waiting because the same thing that you're talking about and the same reason that I'm not tripping on that, because I just said, accept the fact that, I don't think that they are on that type of level production-wise at receiver. That's the big reason why everybody and the Steelers are still looking at the Aiyuk situation. Because, yes, we do need a number 2. Don't get that twisted, man. Now, we're talking about different ways to Band-Aid it. Man, maybe we go the group approach. Maybe you bring in a Juju and along with these other guys, a Michael Thomas, right? And maybe that group of just others can give us some type of collective production to equal a wide receiver 2. Hey, maybe we can play through Muth way more and he's going to give us the production to equal a wide receiver 2. That's the type of combos we've been having, right? Because of us not having a bona fide guy opposite GP from my perspective. All right. So we on the same page with it. I just think that we're speaking about it differently. You might be talking about it in the sense of, man, you want Van to elevate to that. I look at it and just say, man, I don't think that that's going to come from him or the other guys in that room. So unless we're bringing outside help in, I'm looking at GP saying, yo, it's going to be on you. I'm looking at Move and I'm saying, yo, it's going to be on you. And then after that, these running backs, baby, stay healthy because it's going to be on you guys, because I can't depend on the other receivers to show each and every week that they're going to be those type of receivers, because statistically and historically, they haven't been those guys. So why would I expect that now just because of we need them, right? That's the only thing that's changed between last year and this year. Hey, Deontay ain't here, so we really need a wide receiver right now. So let's really, really hope that these guys are going to turn into that. Could they? Sure. And if they do, man, I'll be the first to tell you, man, I was wrong. They surprised me. And, man, let's go. This is a great problem. But what are the odds telling us? What is the probability of that happening? And that's the part where I just say there is not a lot that's pointing in that direction, saying that we're going to get the surprise production from that group. One of those guys emerging as a true bona fide wide receiver number 2. I just don't see that just yet. I think they're still going to be productive, but I think that they do need help. And I'm not the only one. The Steelers, remember that. The Steelers are looking for Aiyuk. I didn't call Aiyuk. They've been calling him. So they definitely are saying something internally that is very reflective of what I just said, because they're the ones calling Aiyuk still. All right. It's not like in the past where we were like, oh, man, we ain't calling no guy like that. We would never. If this was Kevin Colbert 5 years ago, would we be over here talking Aiyuk? Absolutely not. Wouldn't even be a thought, right? But right now, we're like, yo, bro, we still waiting. If Aiyuk would have changed his mind today and say I'm signing with the Steelers, we'd still be over here happy, man. So that's just where we are right now. But we can still win without him. And I don't want you to get, that confused either. Do we need a wide receiver too? Absolutely. Would it make life a lot easier? Absolutely. But can you still win without having a Brandon Aiyuk caliber wide receiver on this roster this year? Yes. It's just going to be a lot more challenging, but you can get it done. And King Whopper, he says, or King Whooper, excuse me on that one. He says, Justin trusting his eyes more. The throw to Pruitt. Absolutely, baby. That was what I wanted to see. That's what we need to see more of. That's what training camp has looked like for Justin. It's been like that. I thought last week he didn't do that. He was more of the, nope, all right, I'm going. I think I can see it. Nope, I'm gone. That right there, this week, it was more of a, bro, I'm going to sit back here and I'm going to trust it. Now, maybe it was a familiar foe being Detroit, right? That's the division for him coming from Chicago. So maybe that what it was. I don't know. But I just thought that today he did look a lot more comfortable. He did look a lot more in command, and he trusted, like you said, his eyes. He trusted his receivers. And ultimately, man, he played a lot better game in terms of just quarterback style, not overall like stat sheet, because we know obviously last week it ended nicely from a statistical standpoint. But there were parts of it where we wanted to see just better versions of this, especially in the pocket. But I thought, man, for Justin, man, I like what I saw today, man. So salute to Justin Fields, man. Oh, and shout out to the chat, man. I didn't see Juju get brought back up. He says, and this is B-Bag929. He said, I'll be okay with Juju coming back. Oskino86 says Juju's knees are done. And then we got my man Jay Jones says, why people still on this Juju thing? Go look at my boy's numbers. Now, so I'll say this, man. When Juju has been healthy, Juju can still produce. When Juju has not been healthy due to his knee, that's when he struggled. And unfortunately, it's been more of the knee than production these past, at least all of last year. And that's part of where it's getting that dicey standpoint of, man, what is your health? You've heard me all offseason since we've been bringing up Juju, and Juju has come up. Why? Because we don't feel confident with the group that we currently have. We're looking at it and we're saying, hey, man, might need something else in here. Now, we said we could either go a super high-end upgrade, the Brandon Aiyuk type, going for a DK Metcalf type, right? Or we take the opposite approach. Man, just throw different body types at it, different guys that have different skill sets. All right, we got Van, we got Quez, we got Scotty, we got Calvin, all right, we got Roman, all right, bring in Juju, all right, bring in Michael Thomas too, man, bring them all in, right? And then hopefully the field of those guys can produce cumulatively the production that an Aiyuk or one of these other high-end receivers could produce. So like we said, we have that approach, and I think that's why Juju's name continues to come up. But if the knee isn't healthy, I think that's my sticking point with it. And obviously the Steelers, they're going to feel the same with that, man, because you don't bring a guy back just to bring him back. The knee has to check out medically, man. Because otherwise you're just paying him to be here on the sideline. You want him to be on that field and you want him to be his best self. So I think, like I said, that's going to be a big thing, but we will see. We will see. And Ernest Williams, man, you said you're taking Thomas over Juju. This is my whole thing. Thomas reached heights that were insane for the position. I'm with you. Thomas, career-wise, had a higher peak than Juju. I'm with you. But, man, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I feel like Thomas, man, you'd be questioning, do we still love it, man? I just don't know. He done disappeared on us, man, these past couple seasons, man. All right, so that's the part that makes me just more nervous about him. I'm like, at least with Juju, you're going to tap back into the heart. You're going to tap back into this is where you started out at. This is home. Remember that. Family. All right? Michael Thomas, I don't know, man. I don't know if that dog hungry anymore. It was a dog, but I don't know. That dog, like, it's got fed, and it got fed really well. And yeah, you'd be like, yo, go out there and hunt. You'd be like, man, you got to do that no more. I got this right here. So that's my only thing, man. But shout out to Michael Thomas, man. All right, we got a couple other supers coming in here as well, man. And like I said, I definitely appreciate each and every one of y'all rocking with me tonight, man. It's a vibe even for the preseason, man. Y'all in here thick. So shout out to everybody rocking with us tonight. If you enjoying this stream, if you enjoying this community that we got booming over here and what's ultimately going to continue to just grow once the season gets here, hit that like button one time. And if you are new and want to be a part of this family, you might as well subscribe. That's the best way to do it. And if you need like the manual on how to be a part of the family, man, just go to arthurmoats.com. That's the website. It has like all the cool little details of, oh, this is this person. Man, they're up here because they did that. Oh, this is that person. Oh, he's up here because he does this. All right, so check it out, baby. Check it out. But we appreciate you. Mike Cook, I appreciate you as well. And Don, or the Don Hefe Quan. You know, I see what you want as well, Rod Dollars, man. So you know that. Salute y'all boys, man. Always salute y'all. All right, King Whooper. He's back and he says, how do you feel about Kenny gone now? Or how you feel about Kenny being gone now? Better off? Question mark. I look at it like this. If we're talking Pittsburgh Steelers, I would say we're better just because Russell Wilson, to me, is a far and away better quarterback than Kenny Pickett. It's not a shot at Kenny. It's just a fact of one's a proven Super Bowl champion. One statistically has done it a lot longer. And one career-wise has been in this profession for a lot longer. So the experience that comes with that, the production that comes with that, and even when we compare just apples to apples, there are stats from last season, right? Regardless of what sabotage, this coach don't like that, whatever, Russ still was a better player. So just because of that alone, I say, yeah, we're better. We got a better player at the position. So we have upgraded it and we have gotten better. And then when I throw in Justin Fields as well, if I say that, you know, for argument's sake, that both of these guys are inconsistent passers. Okay, cool. Justin Fields still runs a whole heck of a lot better than Kenny, with all due respect to Kenny. Justin Fields blows him out the water when it comes to the running part of it. So either I got him as a whole in the rust element, or I have him in this part where I have the proven commodity of the legs while we're still speculating, or if we want to do the whole argument about the arm stuff. That's, like I said, man, how I look at it. So, yeah, I do feel like we're better off. And for Kenny, man, I think he's mentally in a better place. And the reason why I say mentally is because it wasn't a, yo, we're kicking you out from here. Remember, he mentally was not fond of the situation when it was ended with Mason last year, and then obviously when Russell Wilson came over in the offseason. So for him, man, he wanted to get out. And I think for him, he got what he was looking for, a fresh opportunity somewhere different. Now, I can't talk to, you know, his role over there. I haven't been following Philly like that, but just, you know, taking the information I have from here and seeing him in a different spot there, all right, I guess he's in a mentally better spot because he don't have to deal with Russ and our situation. So, yeah, I think everybody's good today, man. So shout out to the homies. Hey, JS. Shout out to JS. He says, every time I see Russell Wilson, I'm like, dang, he's short. Is he, or is it just me? Laughing out loud. Anyway, he looked good for the short time he played. Now, facts on that. And Russ is short, but Russ is built like, he's not little by any stretch of the imagination. Just compact. All right. Yeah. Yeah, that's Russ. That's a big reason, man. Like, if you see him like in person, especially on game day, it's like with the extra thick rib protector on. I'm like, bro, you got a lot going on, man. But he's also a tough guy to bring down, and that's what we're gonna be seeing from Russ, man. Russ, exciting player to play against and play with, man. So obviously, I'm happy that he's here because, like I said, I do feel like he's gonna be a nice asset for us. And just providing leadership, providing that calming presence. It's nothing like being able to look in the huddle and know that this guy's already done it, right? The things that we wish for, the things that we're hoping for, none of our guys have done it just yet. Russ has done it. Russ has led that. And it's a certain calming voice, a certain thing when he says, yo, chill out, we good? You're going to chill out because he's lived this before. Versus the guys who've never done it, but they always speculate that they can do it. Or they talk about, you know, they got the potential to. And it's like, yeah, but you never did it. So until you get in that moment, who knows what you're going to do, right? And those guys sometimes, man, will panic on you, man. But with Russ, man, there's going to be certain things that he's just going to provide from an intangible standpoint to go along with the production, man. So like I said, man, I'm glad that he's here, man. So shout out to Russ. Let me see. All right, I think we cleaned up all the supers. Shout out to that. I like it, man. But, you know, that was, you know, the big things that I had in terms of this performance today. Of course, you would want to see a victory at some point in the preseason. But from my experiences with Coach Tomlin, preseason, the intent is not wins and losses. The intent is evaluations. He wants information on his players because now is when it matters the most. You can go undefeated in the preseason and look great each and every game. But when you come out into this regular season, if you don't produce, if you come out here in this regular season and you start pissing the bed, none of that preseason stuff matters. And I think all of us would agree we saw that last year where it was almost a perfect preseason. Offensively, we scored every single time. We were explosive and all these other things. But as soon as the regular season hit, we saw how drastically that changed. For me, We got better evaluations this go around. But now it's time to see, okay, who is actually ready to take that step? Are these coaches actually better than what we've had in the past? And if they are, we about to find out, man. But that will do it for today's stream. Like I said, man, it is a Saturday. Shout out to this 1 o'clock kickoff, man. Vibed out. But if y'all enjoyed the show, man, y'all hit that like button one more time. Don't forget to subscribe. Like I said, check out the website, arthurmoats.com, if you're bored. And like I said, man, we're just going to keep these things rolling, man, so you already know what it is. But appreciate you for tapping in with me. And until next time, baby, peace.